that is my interpretation of the greatest guitar intro to a live performance, in my opinion, Cliffs of Dover. Live in Austin, Eric Johnson is the guitar player. I'm gonna talk about what makes these chord voicings so special, kind of give you a little background as to why they work and how you can implement them into your own guitar playing. This is gonna rely on a little bit of music theory and really just using your ear to understand the terminology if you're not comfortable with music theory. So no matter what level you're at, I'll try and cater this to everyone, the universal guitar player. And I also want to let you know that American Musical Supply is sponsoring this video. They're providing tickets to those of you who want to attend the Paul Reed Smith Music School. If you'd like to enter to be randomly selected to win your own ticket to the Paul Reed Smith Music School, simply click the link in the description of this video, put in your email address, and that's all there is to it. This is a worldwide entry, so anybody can enter. And if you know how to play the guitar, even just a tiny little bit, you will have massive benefits attending this event. And you can also stream this event indefinitely, so if you can't attend live, you have access to the recordings forever with your ticket. Thank you to American Musical Supply for sponsoring this video. Let's start with what the heck these voicings are, because although they sound very huge and complex, they're actually pretty simple. And just before we get into these chord voicings, I want you to understand that there is a pad behind these chords. Eric plays a G5 chord, just a G power chord if you want to think about it like that. It's the root and the fifth and then another root. And he just plays it on a very quick loop. As you notice, that's how I started this video. And you can get this sound very easily with any loop pedal. All you do is play it and tap it in the tempo that you want it to be. There we have it. So the first thing we have is this is based on a G major triad. He's just omitting the third to kind of have this airy sort of sound. It really sounds suspended. And this sets up. So what we have here is dyads. We have this note here, the G, and here's the major third. And then we have an F sharp, and there's its minor third. And what this is based on, really just the root and third of a chord. So we have in the key of G, which is what this intro is in, and what the Cliffs of Dover song is in, you can think about it just like this. That is the G major scale in dyads, just including root and third. We're actually starting it up here. So you can hear that relationship. So here's how I would practice this. If you are learning the major scale, for example, which is 99% of popular music is based in the major scale, learn your root third voicings. This is such a valuable way to understand the color of any harmony in a scale. So if you can play something like this, that's good, but really all you need are the essentials, the root and the third. This is what a lot of this intro is based upon, these root third intervals, and there is a bit of chord extensions that we'll get into as we move forward through this, but a vast majority is just a root third chord voicing in the diatonic key of G major. So let's talk about this next chord that we come to. That is a beautiful chord, holy crap. You want to look at it in a more comfortable position. It's sort of like a B minor chord without the flat 7. And that is, in my interpretation, actually a drop 2, which is an inversion of, in this case, a major chord, a major 7th chord, I should say. So an inversion of this regular root position G major 7th chord, the first chord of the G major scale. We're gonna take these exact notes. There's the root, there's the 5th, There's the major seventh, there's the third, and we're just gonna move this up in inversion. So the third is now on top, that major third, major third. Here is the major seventh, F sharp. Here's the root, G, and here's the fifth. So these exact same notes. You can hear in that context, but on its own, this almost sounds like a minor chord. Because, like I said, it has a lot of the same elements as a B minor chord. Eric is using a combination of diatonic root position dyads, as well as inversions of drop 2 chords, or just diatonic seventh chords of the major scale. But what he's got going on here is he is taking this major seventh and pushing it up to a root. So the one difference here is he is taking that major seventh and just eliminating it. Again, sticking to the essentials of a chord, we have the root, in this case it's the major third of G, and instead of this major seventh, which could be a little bit of clashing, he just pushes it up to the root, and then he maintains leaving out this root and having that fifth there. So all we really have here is a major third, a root, and a root. So that idea of just extremely simple G5 chord, a power chord. This is a power chord. It's just in a spread position, a spread voiced. So spread position basically means it is a chord voicing that spans beyond one octave, because here would be an octave, as you can hear. That is beyond that first octave, so this is considered a spread voiced triad, but it's really only 2 notes. It's a dyad. So that's the entire intro. Those 2 concepts, the dyads in a diatonic position, as well as inversions of what I would consider to be drop 2 voicings. Now, that's so nice and airy, and as you can hear, he is just moving diatonically. So really, he's just moving up and down the scale and understanding the fretboard and being able to move through these various positions of these diatonic chords in 2-note structures just masterfully. But if you think about it, it's just the same notes, you're just playing them all over the neck. So this is the value of knowing the guitar neck in and out. He basically has a section where he comes up like this. So you can hear that just sounds like going up the major scale, right? But he's just, instead of playing single notes like that, he's playing dyads, but that's all that's happening. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're gonna stick to kind of going through this because I want to show you a couple of these suspensions that he adds in. So this is, again, playing on the tonality of G major. This is the major third, but he is pushing it up to suspend that major third. And this is going to be a theme as we continue down. He's going to do the same thing. So right here. And again, having that droning G underneath this. It's adding just enough to the harmony to give it context that the listener will appreciate and be able to compartmentalize as, oh, this is the key that this person is trying to convey, whether or not they have any idea about music theory. That's the beauty of this. So moving forward, I want to show you a couple other little interesting parts. That is so beautiful. If you think about just the melody, so awesome, man. So with the context here of the G5 in the background. So it's cool to have this loop on because you can familiarize your ear with the sound of the G major scale. that G in D. It's the flat 7 of E minor, and it just makes sense when you have this melody. But then adding that dyad, just really livens up the harmony, projects you into that very mythical, ethereal sound that I love about this intro. So let's move on here as he resolves this with a nice little sus4. The way he resolves this phrase is he comes to a D major 7, but of course we're in this triadic approach, so this is a spread voice triad. Move away from dyads for a second. We have 3 notes here, the root, 5th, and the 3rd. It is a spread voice since it spans beyond an octave. He does it with a harmonic, like a little harp harmonic. I couldn't figure it out. I admit it, I couldn't figure out. I see him barring. I know how to play a harp harmonic. Like, you're just supposed to be able to fret a chord and then go 12 fret lengths up and kind of just like that. But yeah, I don't know what he did there, so I just... Those are the notes. I'll keep it at that. And then he has this big old chord. And over that pad sound, listen to this. The best kind of tension right there. After he moves from that, we get this little departure from diatonic sounds. So this is a little bit of a chord shape that is moving away from the diatonic harmony just barely. So normally this would be a C major shape, but he goes into a 4 minor. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He changes to the 4 minor. But then he resolves it beautifully to this 5 major. And of course, little Melly. So it's sort of like a flat 3 major, I suppose you could say. Or you could think about it like a 4 minor, like a modulation to a minor sound. But it either way resolves to this sound, which is the 5 sound. And then he repeats the motif a little octave up. And then my favorite part here, the suspended sound. I'll just play it for you and then break it down. And then just a G sus to a G open chord, and that is it. So this little part here, this is a suspended sound in basically based on an E flat, if you want to look at it this way. You could think of this as the flat 6 major chord in the key of G major. So it's really based on Eric's ear leading the melody in the right direction. So he has these little suspended moments to build tension and then release that tension onto a nice. But this part here, so he has to have this little bridge. Again, this chord here, it's all very simple harmonically. There's not a lot of color, believe it or not. In color meaning like a 3rd or a 9th or a 6th or something that adds to the chord. Normally when you think about harmony, you think a root, a 5th, and really like a 7th. Those are kind of the more colorless notes. They kind of can do more things. They're more malleable, but they aren't necessarily as expressive. Obviously that's not true, because all of these chords pretty much are based on those boring intervals, and well, it works for Eric. So let's put this into that padded context here. That's what we have. And the great thing about this pad too, now we're moving a little bit away from the intro and talking about how you can apply this to your playing. If you put this on, you can really practice through G major or minor, or any kind of G sound, because this is a neutral palette. It's just the root and the fifth. So we can go into major. Check this out. I'm gonna go minor on you. Now I'm gonna go modal on you, but still stay in that minor sound. Sound, right? Back to major. How about some minor pentatonic? Maybe a little harmonic minor if you want. So many different ways you can practice over just that one thing, and it makes me wonder if Eric kind of came up with Cliffs of Dover in that way. At least that intro, he's just maybe accidentally hit his loop pedal too early and was like, oh, whoops. Oh, you know what? I'm sure he came up with it just like this, right? So, thinking about harmonic analysis in this way, just thinking about which interval applies to which chord, and thinking about melodies as chords, you know, I like to break down that intro because I hear a whole melody. I know that the chords are supporting the melody, but it's just so amazing. I call that chord soloing, or play multiple lines at once to create really just a cohesive melody. It's what makes Eric's guitar playing so special. That combined with the voicings that he chooses, very open string oriented. Obviously the key of G major has this ringing G, and you can have the B and the E if you want to. Here's the D, the A is in there. You can really access all these open strings for different voicings, and of course the kind of second layer of that is the spread element of those voicings. So instead of playing a power chord like this, Eric would play a power chord like this. It's just a matter of octave displacement. He's taking a octave of an interval and pushing it up or pulling it down. And it's just unbelievable, amazing, beautiful, gorgeous, whatever adjective you would like to use. It is the most famous guitar intro in my mind, and it was very formative when I heard it, and I'm glad that I did a lesson for you on it because it made me fall in love with it all over again. So if you're interested in learning more music theory oriented stuff from me, then check out the rest of my YouTube channel or check out Guitar Super System. There is a link down below for you to subscribe to that. And check out the Paul Reed Smith Music School if you're interested in that. We have 4 days of teaching just like this. I'm gonna be one-on-one with you along with a bunch of other really great guitar teachers. And if you can't afford a ticket yourself, you can enter with your email address. Just click the link in the form below. Thanks to American Musical Supply for sponsoring and providing tickets for those of you who may be interested in winning. And until next time, keep shredding.